from race director. Thumbs up from chief commissaire. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the rest we are going to the third corner now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of the Fresh Crits of Melbourne. You are here with your host, Steve Flack, where if you haven't been following the channel for long, I do somewhat regular crit videos with power overlays and comments and all that kind of stuff. So go and check that out and subscribe and like and comment, all that. But today, I've been sitting on this footage for a little bit of time now. If you do not know already, we are down at Buninyong for the 2022 Grand Fondo Nationals, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I stuck some GoPros on the bike and managed to film the race. So we're on board with the 19 to 34 age group. So it was a race that started with about 60. I think we finished with 50. So it was a great field. And basically the format of the Grand Fondo is the 19 to 34 group start first, and then every minute that goes past, the next age group comes after that. So you have the 35 to 39, and it continues on until you're with the Grand Masters, I suppose, the wise old wizards. So the course itself, well, I've never ridden it before. I've chucked the gradient or the course map, elevation map up there for you to have a bit of a look at. But basically the course itself is around 11.6 kilometers. It takes around 18 to 19 minutes, or took me that long to get around the course, whilst the pros get it done in sub 17. Every time you go around, you're gaining about 192 meters of vert each time, and on those, on that one climb with a bit of it where it levels out ever so slightly, the average gradient is about 5.3%, and in the second climb, as it dips back up, it maxes out at 8.4. So on the first time round, yeah, it's not too bad. Second time round, yep, it's not so bad. But as the race continues, your legs slowly get sapped for energy. So for the first parts of this race, it's all about sitting down, making sure you're pedaling out a nice fast cadence to keep the legs turning over. And for me especially, I'm trying to keep in the saddle and not get out, because every time I jump out of the saddle, my heart rate's going to spike. So yeah, you can see here, just sitting in the wheels and making sure I'm not coming out and taking on too much wind, even though we're ticking over at 21 k's an hour. Every little bit helps. But look, let's skip ahead and we can look at some of the key riders in this race, the guys that win, some sketchy moments, different parts of the course, and all that fun stuff. Also, just for the heads up, I have uploaded the full race to the Fresh Crits YouTube channel. I'll link it below in case you wanted to watch it for whatever reason. Maybe you're on the trainer and you want something to look at. But yeah, let's get stuck in and we'll go from there. I will skip ahead with 10 minutes or 11 minutes into the race, and it does get quite technical. So coming into the bottom of the course here, you can see in the map in the bottom right hand corner, there is quite a sharp right hand corner at the bottom of this hill. Now, I'm coming into this course blind, so I really wanted to be in the top few wheels coming into this corner, and I did that by just jumping into people's draft and finding nice little passing lanes. So we start out wide, we're on the brakes early, we dip the bikes in, and we hit that corner at about 50 plus kilometers an hour, and straight away you're back on the gas as you crest up the hill as we make our way into the Federation Uni, where things start to get very, very technical. So for me, if I was to give advice to any rider that's looking to do the Nationals next year, it's really important that you try to position yourself at the front of the race, especially into those really tight corners, because from here, once you get into the university, with a lot of lefts and rights, you can see on the map there in the top left, the map in the bottom right hand corner, but at the top leftish part of the course, you can see there's lots of switchbacks, there's lots of left and rights, which makes passing very quite difficult. So yeah, well, now that you've seen that, we'll skip ahead to another part of the race. Okay, so we're coming into the start-finish lap to signify this is lap number 2, and I'm no climber. I'll put my hand up and say it straight up. So in order for me tactically to stay in this race for as long as I possibly can, I didn't want to be positioned right at the back of the field coming into any of these climbs, I really wanted to make sure I position myself as closest to the front as possibly can. Yes, right now I'm sitting on the front, pushing all the wind for the rest of the group, but I know I'm going to drop my watts back down to something that's a little bit more thresholdy, and allow the rest of the group to pass me. But I'm comfortable right now setting my own pace without any qualms. But naturally, as I start to lift up off the gas a little bit, we're going to see riders starting to come through, or I can sit back in the draft. Now the issue is if you decide to keep in the wheels for a lot longer, yes, you'll get a draft, but then the risk is that you end up being a split might happen up the road, and you'll be forced to close that. And that, if you can't do that, that could potentially mean race is over. So we'll skip ahead for the next little bit now. Alright, so we're 1 lap down and 24 minutes into the race, and we're right on the steep part of the climb. We're looking at 6 to 8%. You can see the hill climb there, 300 left to go. But I wanted to bring this one to you because you can see everybody is starting to get shelled. You can look in the rear cam now, little gaps are starting to open up in between people, and things are starting to get really, really interesting. I wanted to highlight now a couple of the key riders in this race. So number 68 in the white kit there, moving up the field now, he comes second in this. Number 16, who's just come across my wheel in the 99 bikes kit, he picks up a 5th. So right now, where everybody is, all these people are going to be involved in the very finish of the bike race. So as you can see, already 24 minutes into this race, if you want to be positioning yourself well, you need to be at the front of the bike race, obviously. If you're at the back, if you're trying to shut down gaps and overusing your energy, then you're not going to be there at the very end. You can see right now I'm absolutely blowing chunks, 191 beats a minute. I'm absolutely suffering, and I know that if someone launches another attack once we've made it over the top of that climb, I'm out the back door. So I'm just praying that the rest of the guys keep the pace down low. The rider on the front there, he's actually number 87. We'll see him a little bit later on. He actually takes first. So you can see all the strong guys are all at the front of this bike race. You can see behind in the rear cam, little gaps once again are opening up even on the descent. But you just got to keep telling yourself, if you can make it over that climb together in a group, it's all downhill from here where you can sit in and recover. Alright, so we're about to make that left-hand turn into the university, and you're greeted with a sharp little pinch here. Now, on fresh legs and last lap, that's where it's a perfect little spot to make an attack, purely because as you enter the university, things get really, really fast, they get really strung out, and the corners get real tight, and it can be quite easy to defend your position from there. So as you can see here, as we get a glimpse, as we come around the corner, have a look in the rear cam, how strung out everything is. And if you're at the back of the group, obviously it can be concerning if you see little gaps. Like you can see right now, little gaps starting to open up as the guys really send it through the left and rights of the uni here. So talking about clean lines, really, really important to make those through here, making sure you're hitting all the apexes and keeping as much speed as you can. Come around here, 60 kilometers an hour, back on the pedals, keeping in the draft, and you can see the gaps that are opening up in the cam behind me. You know, you're going to have to, if you're on the right or on the front, you're having to do that extra work to keep everybody away. So this, personally for me, this is the most exciting part of this course. The closed roads, big wide corners, hitting those apexes, really, really technical bits. Man, I love it. I love it. So we're on the third lap here, and I'm starting to suffer. Things are starting to really hurt. Legs are cooked. Heart rate is well up there as we come with 300 meters left of the last bit of hill. And you can see in the rear cam behind, I'm right now the last wheel. And this is the dangerous part if you are at the back, is you've got no more riders to come through. If you cannot stick onto a wheel here, you've got no one else to tow you across, which can be really, really dangerous. And that's why it's important always, if possible, of course, to stay up closer to the front, as you've got more room for error here. 200 meters left of the climb. I know I just need to hang on. My heart rate's 193, 192 beats a minute. I'm absolutely bleeding here, in absolute agony, but I just keep telling myself I need to get over the top. I'm so close, I'm so close. And I'm here with really, really good company. As you can see, the guy in the Nero Continental shirt just up the road, a few wheels in front. So I finally crest the hill, 192 beats a minute. But you can see here, number 54 has just dropped the wheel. And he's looking behind, asking for help without much to do. And it can happen that quick. And right now, I'm thinking this could be race over. We either shut this one down now, or I shut this one down now, or this is that's race over, and you're never going to see these guys again. Knowing, you know, we have a descent left where I can recover. I use my last bit of energy to try my hardest to bridge across, knowing that I can't let this group go. So I dig deep here and try to put out some watts with my legs absolutely screaming. I can barely breathe. I'm in all sorts of pain, and let's see how that works out. Very, very fortunately, I made it across to the group and burnt a whole bunch of matches in doing so. But I'm still in the race, I'm still here, and I'm very, very excited about it. I personally don't think it wasn't my effort that made that bridged across. Yes, it helped, but I also think the group did sit up a little bit, which allowed me enough time to catch on. Now, if you look behind you, not this guy in the brown kit, but in doing that attempt across, dropped the two other riders that I was with, but you can see now they're putting in a big hero effort in order to get across. Now, in hindsight, yeah, it might have been better off sitting in with those guys and working as a team to get across and burning less matches, but when it's this deep into the race, you have no idea where people are at fitness-wise. You don't know if they've got the effort to get across. In hindsight, yes, it would have been smart, but look, we're still here, we're still with the front group, which is all that matters with only a few laps left to go. Alright, with 2 laps to go, I'm still at the business end of the race with 60 minutes of racing about to tick over. It's safe to say that you know, this could be near to the end. You can already see little gaps starting to open up, and when your heart rate is 183 beats, things are starting to get tough. And you know, the guys that are fit, the guys that win this race, are really starting to really light it up, because they don't want to be carrying sprinters and big heavy boys over the next couple of climbs, because, you know, generally they might not be that good in a sprint. So they're going to try to start shelling all these riders off the back as we just passed the sign, 300 meters left. And that's really positive sign to me. I see that sign and I'm like, just keep hanging on, keep hanging on, keep hanging on. But you can see here that the pace is really starting to increase off the front. You can see the guys jumping out of the saddles just to keep up with the front group. So you can tell that the guys in the front want no bar of any sprinters, so they just absolutely lit it up, and that sees me right out the back door. So, you know, that's pretty much race gone. I'm thinking at the moment, just try to keep on the pedals, keep the chain tight to hopefully maybe they'll sit up and you can catch them on the descents. I was descending relatively well within the group at this race, but unfortunately that was the very end of it, and that was race over. So what could I have done differently coming into that last climb to keep at the front of the group? Yes, I said it before, try to be at the front of the race, but when you cannot be at the front of the race because the pace is too high, there isn't much to do. But that's race over for me, but there's still a fair bit to talk about, because the race does get very, very interesting as the battle breaks down between the last few riders in this group. So make sure you stick by, and we'll pick it up there. Alright, so we are last lap now with just over 4Ks left to go. And here we are with Luke Dale. So he's in the age group behind us. So this guy ends up coming third in the age group behind us in the 35-39. So effectively what's happened is he has put a minute into me already. So obviously a very, very strong rider. And behind me in the red kit is James Nash, who ends up coming 8th. And actually pips me at the line, but Unfortunately, we've got some bad news because we've just lost the front cam. It's running out of battery. The battery is dead, so we're just going to have to make do with the rear cam and see the paint faces in the guys behind. So you can just see coming around that corner. That's the remainder of the 35 to 39 age group. So they're also put a menace into us. And this guy here has obviously gone on a bit of a breakaway effort to try to keep away. Obviously, I have no skin in this game. But I'm also mindful that there could be other riders in that group that have managed to tag along and bridging over to this, to our group up the road now. So I guess it's just important to try to pull your turns where need be, but make sure you're saving your matches for that final sprint. So we'll skip ahead into the university, into the lefts and rights, because it's a bit of fun, and then we'll pick it up from there in that final home straight. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. So we're into the last few corners in the university, and the group of the 35 to 39 year olds have caught us up. The front group of that, obviously you can see all these strong looking fellas from that group. There's also a couple of stragglers who have been lapped, as well as still a couple of the 19 to 35 age group, 34 age group rather, who have been picked up. So it's just a massive cocktail of riders, and you aren't really too sure who's left in the mix. I know I've got Paul Speed in this group. I've seen him go past. Now, for those who don't know Paul Speed, the guy knows how to go on a breakaway, but probably has the slowest sprint going around. So my aim was to try to either lead him out and try to get him a gap, or keep the pace, sit at the front, keep the pace low for him to get away. But you can see we've gone through the few corners there. Things are getting really, really tight. The pace is starting to ramp up, and things are starting to get really excited. So let's skip ahead a little bit further, just to that last finishing straight. Alright, so we're coming up to 500 metres. There's been a breakaway up the road, which I've tried to bridge across. And you could see there, just as it flashes past, Paul Speed goes to launch an attack. Now, at 66 kilometres an hour, you're going to be pretty hard pressed to try to get away at that speed. So when I saw him go, there's no point trying to chase him. I sit up and jump in the wheels to hopefully give another crack for a second effort. Now, the run-in's coming in real hot. We're almost ticking up to 70 Ks here. So you're also at the back of your mind thinking, all right, I'm obviously not going to win this race. I just want to make sure I'm staying safe. Little did I know, this guy here in the Cycle House kit is also in my age group, who's also looking to lock in a top 10 finish. So as you can see on the right hand side of the road, whilst we're looking backwards, there's riders that are going backwards that have been lapped. So, you know, as much as you want to have a heroic sprint to try to secure a good position, you also need to be really mindful about being safe and making sure you cross the line safely without having a crash or putting anyone else in danger. We're coming into the barriers now, not many meters left to the finish. Cross the line, and that's the race. That's pretty much it, and I am absolutely wrapped. I finished off taking out a 9th position, which was my goal this year. You know, I really wanted to do top 10 in nationals, and picking up a 9th where it could have been a 7th but just didn't have the legs to sprint across the line. Absolutely wrapped with that. For anyone that's looking at this thinking if they should come down next year, 100% recommend it. It is one of the best races you can do. The course is fantastic. It's safe. It's well organised. It's the closest you're going to feel to an actual event, with people cheering and clapping on the sidelines. It's an awesome weekend, and if you come down on the Friday, you can do the crits. Obviously Saturday is the Grand Fondo race, and then Sunday stick around for the elite men and the elite women. So that's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A little bit different. It's not so much of a crit, but still a bit of fun anyway. If you did like this sort of stuff, I try to put videos up as much as I can. Hit the subscribe button in the bottom. Flick us a like. If you see yourself, pop a little comment in below. I like to hear from everybody. And that's pretty much it. That's a wrap. Thanks, everyone. Ciao.